On today's episode, I am joined by my favourite sister, sorry, Summer, an inspiring or aspiring chef who has a channel called Cook with Brooke, Strawberry Blonde.
Yep.
Yes, not Ranger.
Oh, Strawberry Blonde.
Strawberry Blonde. And just an all-round good bloke. And also Dad's firstborn son is what people used to call Brooke. So welcome to the Warne's Way podcast. I was going to do a bigger intro, but I thought we've got so much to talk about, so let's just get straight into it.
Hi, Jackson. Thanks so much for having me on your incredible podcast. I'm very excited to be here today.
First girl as well, or first lady, first woman.
First lady, thanks very much.
Yeah, so
First
welcome.
girl, yeah, how exciting.
Yes, how do you feel? I have filmed one with a lady before, but it never got published. But you're officially first published episode female of the Warne's Way podcast.
Well, I hope it gets published.
This will get published. The one I did, we both, it was like a practice
I
one.
know,
It's with
I
H. We both sort of said it's a practice one.
I'm only tricking.
But yes, welcome to the Warne's Way podcast. What do you think of the setup? I know you've been in here before, but just for the audience.
I think it's bloody cool what you've done with it. You and Kai have worked so hard, so many hours in here, and the fact that it's Dad's office as well. I think it's just very special that it's now your office and you're now building your career in here, and it's got all your stuff, but it's got little hints of Dad around, and I think you'd just be wrapped.
So do you think it's a good mix of both?
Yeah.
Like
I
I've
think
got Lego and Dad's book and Augusta, his wine, but then I've got the Hulk, motorbike helmet, SAS drink bottle,
I think
all this stuff.
Dad would be happiest that that's on display and everyone gets to know about his hole in one on Augusta. I think that's what he'd be wrapped about.
Yeah, it's his favourite piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the only bit of memorabilia he had on display at his last house.
I actually still remember at New Bay, it was under the sink in the bar. Remember?
Downstairs.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said to Dad, I was like, what's this doing under here? And he's like, oh, you know. And I'm like, what are you doing? It needs to get out. Like, what?
Yes.
I remember when, it's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that it's on display, and I think it's very special. You've done a great job in here.
Thank you, Brooke.
Looks awesome.
Well, let's get into the first little topic. You're already thirsty.
Yeah, I am, because I had a mint before
Okay.
and then I walked up.
Let's get into the first thing. Also,
Yep.
we're both wearing the exact same clothes.
Yeah, do we need to stand up and do a show?
No, it's okay. Pure coincidence. Black hoodie, black
both
black
got-
jeans.
Nike Dunks. Jackson's got Jordans. I've got Nike cargo pants and Nike hoodie. Jacko, you got your Jordans on
I do.
and your black hoodie. Yeah.
Yes. So first topic is childhood. What are some of your earliest memories growing up with mum and dad? Just school, holidays. Just explain to me what your childhood was like growing up.
I think we had a very interesting childhood. I
You.
think me.
Not we. I
Sorry.
want this about you. Even though we
Okay.
have probably very, 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 very similar.
I think
I
similar
want to hear
but
your
different.
experience.
I think-
What's yours?
I think, well, we obviously went through a lot growing up as kids, being in the public eye, our parents' divorce being so public. I think that we went through a lot that kids should maybe never go through in their life. But, you know, I think what we did go through has made us incredibly strong and has given us incredibly strong morals in life, incredibly strong respect for ourselves, each other, our family, our people we care about. And I think that's what we've turned into a positive from a really from a negative. Like we say with Dad, we've turned his legacy into something very positive. And I think, you know, growing up, I think I remember a lot more than you and Summer because I was the eldest, and I have a like to say that I have a memory like an elephant. Not like a goldfish, like an elephant. And I think sometimes it works in my favour and sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes I'd like to forget a few things, but I think I've learnt a lot from growing up, and, you know, I still have memories of when Dad would finish playing cricket and we'd be at Middle Crescent, and, you know, the big kitchen and, you know, the doors at the end of the hallway and they had the blinds. I always remember waiting on the other end of the pond, you know, where the pond was in the middle of the house, and there was that little seat. I still remember sitting on that little seat just waiting for Dad to come around that corner, and I still remember I could see his little shadow from behind the blind, and I would run up and I'd get so excited. And I think we had so many happy memories as kids, but I think we also went through a lot of hard stuff as kids as well. And I think, you know, I really feel sorry for kids that have to go through that in general, not in the public eye and not under so many eyes. But I think it's made us very resilient.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we have the best parents ever. I think they do absolutely anything for us. And, you know, I think we were always so loved. And I think parents that go through divorce, sometimes their kids don't feel like they're the ones that are being put first. But I feel like with us, we did have that because we were so loved and we are so loved. And I think that's a real credit to our parents as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. And do you think then from such a young age being exposed to either media or, like you said, divorce and dad always being away, all those sort of things, do you think that's what's helped you? Because I know it's helped me, but do you think that's what's helped you sort of being able to handle the last 3-4 years a bit easier? I don't want to say easier,
Yeah, no, I
but
know what you mean.
you've been able to manage it in an easier way?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean, and I know easy is not the right word,
'Cause
but you know what I mean by being in the public eye of our whole life.
Well, I know for the last 3.5 years for me, I should probably be a lot more sadder
Depressed.
than I should or depressed, but I feel just all the lessons mum and dad gave both of us growing up, and because of how much dad was travelling and working, like even though we haven't spoken or seen him in over 3.5 years, maybe you're the same, but if you told me he was about to walk through that door,
he's in London commentating.
I would still believe you, and I think that's just because I've gotten so used to him always working away for 3 months or 4 months and 5 months that, yes, this is a long time, and it might hit me like a truck in 5 years' time, I don't know. But for how I'm feeling now, I can still feel Dad exactly like what you just said in this room. Like if I look a little bit to that way, I'm looking at Dad's face.
Yeah,
I've got his hole-in-one here.
he's just so present.
This is his office,
Yeah.
and so I still feel him every single day. But yeah, going back to your childhood, that you reckon there's a lot of earlier lessons that's given you strength and
Yeah, and I think
helped you with your mindset.
I think nothing prepares you for what we've gone through. I think what we've learned as kids is that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen in a week. And I think that's sort of come a lot more clear the last couple of years is, Dad and I were the biggest planners. We'd plan 12 months in advance. I'd be going and I want to be like Dad in that way, right? I want to be organised. And Dad would always say, you got to be organised. You got to lay your clothes out for school. You got to have your school books in your bag. You got to have your lunch packed. And I think I've tried to do that so much in my life that it's actually made me a bit of a control freak because I want to have control over everything so I know what to expect, if that makes sense. So it's like when everything happened with Dad, I had no control over that. And that made me sort of lose control in other areas, which is why sometimes I get a little bit, short or I get a little bit, angrier in situations because it's quite, I've sort of diversed here, but it's sort of a bit triggering when you don't have control over something and you can't plan for something. So as a control freak, it really stresses you out. So I think because Dad and Mum had taught us so many lessons as we were younger, and because we had so many eyes and so much media following us to school, jumping on our cars, we couldn't get out of the driveway, all of this stuff that happened, we have learnt that is somewhat normal when it's not normal. And I know that's why you can't watch the David Beckham documentaries because it's like triggering from when we were kids.
Yeah, I don't know if triggering is the right word. When I'm watching it, I just go, oh, this is so similar to Dad's story.
Yeah, and it is. And I think since we were so young and people that we know now were so young at the time, I don't think people really understood, because we don't really talk about it, sort of what we
about.
We don't talk about like the journalists sleeping at the front of our house.
Oh, yeah, of course. Because I was going to say, all I talk about in this podcast is mostly Dad.
No.
So the people watching and listening, they're going, hang on, I swear last week you were talking to Bates about Dad. And
I know that.
We don't talk about all of the
We don't talk about
stuff.
everything we went through.
Yeah, and I think we just don't talk about it because we don't want to come across as either showing off or bragging or anything like
Not
that.
that that's bragging, but we don't.
Or trying to make us look like that was just our life. I think getting older now, we're able to look back on and going, hang on, when we were 6, 7 years old, having people followed and all that wasn't, that's not right.
And I think, a lot of people get trolled on the internet and stuff, and, that's bad, but it's, I'm not excusing any of that because that's horrible, but it's like, unfortunately, we had cars parked at the front of our house. We had people camping out the front of our house since we were kids. When our dad had passed, not even 6 hours after, we had cars parked up and down the driveway, cameramen getting on people's cars. And it's, as kids, when we're younger, we shouldn't have to deal with that. But unfortunately we did. And unfortunately Dad did. Dad didn't pick to be famous. Wasn't his fault. He was good at something. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost and they go, oh, well, he's asking for it. He's not asking for it at all. And I think with us, they tried to protect us so much and we were always so loved. And I think with everything that's happened, because we were taught to not block out necessarily, but to just go on with our lives and not worry about the snappers, not worry about the journalists, not worry about any of that. And just to be so strong and to know that family is important and that's all that we have. And, you know, the friends that we pick are like our family as well. And everything that mum and dad have taught us our whole lives, I think it wasn't preparing us for what had happened, but I think we took so many of those lessons and put them into the last 3.5 years. And I think you, Summer and I have become a lot closer as well, which I think is really special because, you know, we've had to grow up. We've had to, the last couple of years, grow up a bit extra. And I think you especially have done such an amazing job. And I think sometimes you take on too much and feel like you have to be older than you are. And I want you to be able to be, you know, young and enjoy yourself and enjoy your 20s. And, you know, and I think that it's really nice. And Dad would be really proud of how much that you've stepped up. And I think he'd be proud of Summer too about how much she stepped up. And me in a way as well, because I think we've all done our own little parental roles in different ways, especially you and I. And we shouldn't have to, but we do it anyway because we know that that's what Dad would do and that's what Dad has taught us. And, you know, we've got to be strong and we've got to stand up for ourselves and we've got to have respect for ourselves and we've got to keep going because unfortunately life doesn't stop. And I think that's what's hard to understand sometimes is when everything happened, life stood still because it didn't make sense. And it still doesn't make sense. I still think Dad's going to walk through the door, he's commentating and he's in the UK or he's in India or he's in Vegas playing poker and I'm on a holiday and, you know, our paths aren't crossing at the time. But I just think I haven't accepted it yet, I don't think. But I think he'd be really proud with everything that we are doing with our lives at the moment. I think he'd be really proud because he always wanted – sorry to cut you off, what were you going to say?
No, if people they want to hear you, so you keep going.
My mouth's getting really dry and talking so much. I think when I was little, Dad and I wanted to create a kids' MasterChef. Do you remember? When we were at William Street, I still remember. And we were talking about having the Mikey app on our phone. Because I said, Dad, it's so annoying. I keep losing my little Mikey tickets. He goes, imagine how good if we had an app. And I go, oh, we need to do that. What do you know? 12 years later, they create an app. Me and Dad had nothing to do with it. And the kids' MasterChef, he always wanted me to do something that I was passionate about. And he always said to you, me and Summer, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter if you want to work at a doctor's, you want to be a lawyer or you want to be a checkout chick, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. And as long as you're doing something that you're passionate about and give it 100%. Because if you're not giving something 100%, you don't enjoy doing it, it's not worth doing. You got to do it properly.
Well, yeah, if you're going to do something, do it properly and try and be the best at it, is
exactly
what Dad used to say.
Yeah, correct.
But just a few things on what you just said. First thing, Dad would be very proud of you, so keep up the good work.
Thanks.
And two, I think he'd be proud of you because you're actually just having a go, not just how you've handled yourself over the last 3.5 years, because we've all handled ourselves like very well, I think.
Yeah, we have.
But yeah, I think Dad would just be really proud of you for just having a go.
Yeah.
Like trying your cook with Brooke or going to these events, just meeting new people. Like you're always the social person. I'm very much the opposite. But I think you'd just be really proud of you for doing something.
Thank
and
you.
for context.
Doing something that I love.
Doing something that you love. Because for context, Brooke's been working since 12 years old.
Yeah, we need to set
old.
this record straight because there's a lot of people think that I've never had a job in my life and I've actually had a job since I was 13.
Yeah.
13 and 8 months, I think it was.
You're a barista or making coffees?
No, that came later.
Yep.
The first, sorry, I'll let you finish.
That's okay. You go.
You go.
This is what we go here, then we go here.
I
then we
know,
go
but
here.
I feel bad because you were talking and you were
No.
saying some nice things. So I'd like to hear those more.
Do you want more nice things?
I need some more
Okay.
nice things, please.
No, well, yes, just how you've done everything over the last 3.5 years is amazing. So well done.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to, if you one day release a book with all of your world famous recipes, because you are doing a Cook with Brooke now. I'm excited to see Dad's recipe for world famous lasagna.
Yeah.
World famous lasagna, world famous
Well,
Vegemite
he actually never
toast.
made the lasagna. He pretended he did and he put it in the oven.
Well, you don't spoil it for the people that when they go and want to see the recipe and it just is an address to
his
someone
spag bowl.
to go and buy it.
He made his spag bowl and his
Yeah.
spag bowl, the 2 secret ingredients.
Yeah.
3 secret ingredients.
So just quickly before we talk about all the 2022, going back to your childhood.
Yeah.
Do you have what's sort of your most vivid memories or the happiest memories you've got with Dad?
Oh, the happiest with Dad.
Or anything. It can be with mum with Dad, whoever. Because a
My
lot of mine
happiest
is when we're
memories-
on the holidays.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say too. I think, Marbella, we love going back there now, and we love taking Alex and Kaya there. And, I think for us it's very nostalgic. And I think some things like Picasso's, we were saying that there's a bit more nostalgia there than the food's actually good. I disagree because I still think the food's unbelievable. And Tony Daly's all pasta factory now. I think the happiest memories as kids all together as a family would be on the holidays, because we were by the pool. Dad'd be throwing us in the pool. We'd be laughing. We'd be running around. We'd be eating Pringles. We'd be going for dinners. We'd just be so happy. And I think that is such a special thing to have. And we were so lucky to go on so many holidays and travel so many places with Dad for his work. And, South Africa, India, Marbella, Spain, England. We've been to so many places and it's so amazing. And I think as kids growing up in such a, not a happy family, but feeling so loved and feeling so much happiness from your parents is just amazing. And we were so lucky and we are so lucky. And I think the happiest memories would be being on holidays all together. And I think because we just had each other. There was no one else around. It was just us.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about lessons? Do you have any sort of ones you can think of that Dad or Mum have said, this is, like for me, manners are free, always be early. Do those rub off on you? Any of those type of?
Well, the early thing, if you're not early, you're late.
Well,
Dad tried to instill in me for years, and I think it's only since he's been not here that I've tried to be early to everything.
Well, you were 15 minutes early today, so thank you.
I was here before you.
Oh,
Let's not forget that. I think the late thing is something that, with work I was always on time. And I think I prided myself on that. But there were times where if I wanted to be early, I could have been, and I wasn't. And I think that would annoy Dad a bit because he's like, well, you could. If you just left 15 minutes earlier or you got up 15 minutes earlier, you could have made that. And I think I have him in my head every day telling me about, if you're going to do something, you do it properly and you give it 100% and you be, like you said, you be the best at it. And for me, I think I was always trying so hard with so much that all my jobs that I've had, I always wanted to try and just do whatever I could. And I always wanted to show that with you guys. And I'd always say, come down for breakfast. And you guys would have breakfast at another place. I'd be like, no, guys, come and see. And I wouldn't say to you, I want to see you guys watching me work. And just...
I remember in Bay Street. Underneath the
Bay Street,
foundation.
White Rabbit.
Yeah.
Let's go through the jobs before the lessons. So my first job was underneath where the foundation was on Bay Street. And I was actually grounded because I'd had a party and Dad was away, and I'd pretended that no, Dad, we didn't have a party, even though I'd gone to Hotel Brighton to get a mop in the morning. Me, Ashley and Chloe ran down to get a mop.
And how old were you now?
I was 14.
14.
I remember we just had a bunch of people over and we had silly string, like we were kids. We had silly string, we had pizza, diet, Pepsi, what are they called? Pepsi Max. We had all this food, and one of the Pepsi Maxes had exploded in the hallway. And we didn't clean it up. We were kids, nah. And then the next morning we woke up and we're like, oh my God, what has happened? Imagine Project X, but we're 14.
Yeah.
And we're like, we need to go get a mop. So we ran down to Hotel Brighton and we got a mop. We ran the mop back and we cleaned the floors. We thought we did such a good job. We didn't, because I remember I got home from house aths and Dad was like, I said, Dad, we're in the same beanie. He goes, sit down. I said, oh God. Oh no. He goes, what did you do on the weekend? I said, I stayed at Chloe and Ash's house and we did this. He goes, no, you didn't. I said, yeah. He said, no, you didn't. You had a party. And I'm like, breathe. He goes, you need to get a job. You need to do this. And I was like, no, Dad, I don't need to get a job. I'm 14. Anyway, I did. He sent me on my way. So I went to the foundation in the morning and before school, and then after school I said, Dad, he goes, write your resume. So me and H, we sat downstairs. I got a ham and cheese croissant. I'd never had one in my life. And this nice man, Raj, comes over and he goes, can I get you anything? I said, a job. He goes, okay, do you want to work here? I go, I wasn't being serious. I'm just writing my resume. He goes, you don't need a resume. Are you good with people? I said, I don't know. I'm only 14. He goes, well, you've said to me, what do you need? And you said a job. So I think you're pretty good with people. And he goes, well, what are you doing Saturday? And I said, nothing. I got netball in the morning. He goes, okay, well, why don't you come here in the morning at 7 o'clock, 7 till 3. I'll give you $100 for the day and that'll be it. And I said, for a whole day. That's unbelievable. So I was rapt about that. And I remember I told Dad, I ran back up. I said, Dad, I got a job. He goes, what do you mean you got a job? You haven't even written your resume. I go, I don't need one because I'm good with people. And he said, oh, my God.
That's a good story.
Yeah. And so I was there from year 9 until year 12. I worked every single Saturday, sometimes Sunday. And I remember that was my bit of pocket money, how I got my pocket money. And then after school, I wanted to go to Europe. And I never wanted to ask Mum and Dad for money. I always wanted to try and earn my own money. And it was a bit of independence for me and a hobby and something that I could do that I called my own. And after school, I remember I still worked at the cafe. And then after that, I started working I left there and I worked for Joe's restaurant, Eliana Lulu. And James was my boss and Joe Hasham and James Hasham. They were my bosses. And I started working at their cafe, Eliana Lulu. And I was also working at a pizza restaurant in Black Rock, delivering pizzas for $13 an hour in my own car on a Friday night.
That was my first job too.
Yeah.
Or one of, I did that too.
Yeah, you did.
Delivering pizzas.
We love pizza.
I just love driving.
Yeah, we love driving and we love pizza.
Yeah.
And I remember.
Which you can probably tell. We do get
Yeah,
told sometimes. Gee, the Warnes love their food.
Oh, that's funny. And I remember I was going between the two jobs because I wanted to go on this Europe trip and all the stuff. And Dad was so proud that I was working 2 jobs. So when he'd have a poker night and I was delivering pizzas, he'd go, all right, he'd call up and I'd be like, yes, tips, show me the money. And I'd come with these 13 pizzas in my little Golf and I'd come and open the door and they'd be like, Brooke's done. I'd be like, hey guys, I'm here. Where's my tips? I'd give everyone their pizza and I'd hang out for about 10 minutes and I'd have to get back in the car and go back to the restaurant. And then after that, I started working for Tony Hasham as his EA, as his executive assistant for all of his stuff and all of his events. And I really decided that I loved events and I loved working with people. So I went to uni and I got my events management diploma and that was really cool. And Dad was really happy that I went to uni. And then after that, I went back to White Rabbit. I did White Rabbit as well in between. I was there for a couple of years and then I went back to White Rabbit after Tony and I worked there I worked there for 7 years in the end. I think we worked out what it was. Wow. And I just loved that. In Brighton, I would go, and I'd, again, around food. I was always so happy because if there's someone ordered the wrong thing, I'd get a little egg and bacon muffin or something like that.
So if somebody got it wrong,
someone got it wrong, their food would go on the side and I'd go.
And you'd eat it. So is that what they do with the wrong food at some restaurants?
Well, not all restaurants, but some restaurants, if something's wrong, White Rabbit didn't serve it.
I'm used to watching Gordon Ramsay and he just looks in
straight in the bin. No, I didn't let anything go to waste. I ate that. And yeah, it was really good. And I learned a lot of my skills with people, with organising. And
that's okay, because I like to explain to people, which we witnessed, and I'll say who it was within a second. But I like to say to people, we're complete opposites.
Yeah, we are.
If you got Dad and you and Mum as well, but if you cut Dad in half, you've got one side and I've got the other.
Yeah.
And we were talking to Baz McCullum backstage at one of the Coldplay concerts, and I was talking to him. And first time I'd seen him in a while. I've met him once very briefly.
We had a great chat with him that night, didn't we?
We did, but I was talking to him and he's like, gee, you're a lot like your dad. I said, oh, really? In what way? And I'm like, well, just, how you're talking and your mannerisms and you got similar eyes and all that sort of stuff. I said, oh, thank you. And I said, well, if you actually got Dad and you cut him in half, you'd get Dad in me and Brooke.
And remember, I wasn't over here at this point.
You weren't over there at the point, but then you came running around the corner with drinks. Beers, smokes, chips, and said, Baz, you want any drink? I was, oh, I'm Brooke. Nice to meet you. Oh, look,
here's a vodka soda.
Here's a vodka soda. I've got some chips if you want. I've smoked over there. And Baz has just gone, there you go. That's your dad, right to a T there. So that's what I just like to explain to people, that me and Brooke are complete opposites, but when we come together, that's as close to Dad as you'll get.
Yeah, me and Dad, we'd love to have a little vodka. And yeah, it was quite funny. I'd run over and I said, who needs a vodka soda? Baz, do you need one? And he'd be like, oh, shit, there he is. There's Shado. And it was quite funny. And then I was getting hot chips. Someone said they wanted hot chips. I said, I'll be back. And I went and I got the hot chips and I brought them over. That was a great night. It was lots of fun. And yeah, what was I saying? My last job. My last job was before Dad passed. It was at Hub and it was a co-working space. And I was so proud of this job. I really felt like I was sort of working towards a career that I wanted around people and organising in business. And Dad was so proud of me and what I was doing. And at the time I was actually going for a promotion, and I was telling Dad, Dad, I've got the interview. Like, I'm really nervous. And I'd had the interview, and I'd actually been offered to go for a business course. And I remember I told Dad, and I'd had the business course on the Thursday, and then obviously everything happened on the Friday, but I had the business course on the Thursday. Oh, no, I had the business course on the Thursday, went to work on the Friday, and I was so excited to tell Dad about this business course that I'd done, and I was so excited, and I told him about the interview for the promotion, and I think I was there for 2 years, and they were so great when everything happened with Dad. I obviously wasn't on my phone or anything like that, and we didn't have the TV on. But I remember I got a message from Jules, my manager, and she said, look, don't worry about work, just focus on your family. I remember that's the only message that I replied to at the time. And they were just so helpful, and they just wanted to help me. And I actually didn't work another day there after that Friday. And since then, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And Dad always said to me, it doesn't matter what you do, because you could do anything, as long as you're happy and as long as you try your best at it. And we always got back to the same thing, which was food. Food makes me happy. I love cooking. And Dad always wanted me to do more cooking. That's why I wanted to start the Kids MasterChef, so I could go on it and I could win. And I think that's why I'm so proud of Cook with Brooke, because I think Dad would just love that I'm finally doing something with food and showing my passion and showing how good. Well, no, I'm not the fancy cook with all the fancy stuff like, Cam or any like that. I'm like chaos cook that does all this. It doesn't look that great, and the
food that tastes very
presentation
nice.
isn't that great, but the food that tastes good. I think that's why I get so passionate when I remember there's this one spag bowl me and Kai were talking about it the other day when I made it. I overcooked the pasta, and Kai had the piece of pasta and was like, it's overcooked. And I was like, oh my God, she's Gordon Ramsay. And she goes, it was. I said, and ever since then, that little trick, I'm like, can't overcook the pasta because otherwise it's going to be runny. And I haven't since. I haven't cooked it for you guys since either, but I need to. But I love my home hearty cooking. I try and cook healthy foods. As you know, I'm on my little gut health cleanse at the moment. The last couple of weeks I've been trying to eat really well. But we love our food, and I think I'm really passionate about food because I love how much it brings everyone together, and our happiest memories are always having a piece of pizza or getting the fish and chips from the shop.
Macca's drive-through.
Macca's, whatever
Macca's
it is.
drive-through, gold card, 100 cheeseburgers, throw the meat patty out the window.
Correct. Extra
Not
slice
actually,
of cheese
but-
steak.
Yeah, extra slice of cheese.
Yeah.
Chips in the burger.
Correct. And I think food just brings us so much happiness. And I think it's something that is shared around the world, around the table and around the couch, whatever it is, wherever you eat your food, outside, on the ground, wherever it is. Sorry, my hay fever is so bad.
Bless you.
Thank you. Wherever you eat your food, I think it's one thing that always brings people together. And that as a family, we loved always sitting together to have food and eating and sharing stories and laughing. And I think that's very happy as well.
Well done, firstly. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And congrats and good luck with everything with your Cook with Brooke. Do you have, if you could wave a magic wand, 1, 2 or 3 dream guests you'd love to have on or cook for?
Well,
Like, do
I
you
have
somebody
something
you'd
in the
love to cook for?
works.
If you want to share it, you
No,
can.
I can't yet because
Okay.
I don't want to jinx it.
Okay.
But I have something coming next
you?
year.
Like
yes.
a book. Have
Can't
I spoiled
say.
it with the cookbook?
Anyway, so then 3 guests who I'd love to cook with would, of course, be Gordon.
Yeah.
He'd be number 1. And then, who else?
I think I would know who you'd want to pick.
Yeah. I'd love to cook with Chris one day.
Martin.
Yeah.
Yep. I reckon.
And
it'd be,
I'd love to cook for Ed.
I reckon it'd be Gordon.
Yep.
Chris.
Yep.
And
I actually have a list on my phone.
what's the singer's name? No, not the singer's name. Oh, Molly May. Yeah, Molly May would be up there. But then fourth
Not so much anymore.
Fourth as well, the
I
actor
love her.
from Vampire Diaries. Wasn't that like the
Ian
favourite show?
Somerhalder.
One of them. I don't know which one it was, but that was your favourite show, wasn't it?
Vampire Diaries was one of my favourite shows. I'm actually rewatching it now for the 6th time. And I actually commented on Ian Somerhalder's picture saying,
I always see you in the comments of everything. On TikTok, on Instagram, you're always in the comments.
I'm always in the comments. Well, I was actually talking this the other day. I was on a panel for Mecca and I was speaking to, that was a little plug for myself there. I was on a panel for
How did you find talking on a panel as well?
I loved it. And it was nice to talk about my stuff and for me and about my work. And, you know, I love talking about Dad and I'm so proud of Dad and I'm so proud of all of us and you're probably the same when it's your Warne's Way stuff and, your gym stuff. It's
a bit like, for me, it'd be like poker, Lego, and the gym. Like
Yeah.
not connected to Dad. Sure,
Yeah.
he'd like those, but
Yeah.
that's my personality.
Yeah, correct.
So when I'm talking about them, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's
For
different.
you, it's makeup,
Beauty.
skincare.
Yeah, beauty, fashion, food.
Food.
And to be able to speak in one of the biggest brands, well, the biggest brand in Australia, one of the biggest brands in the world, on a Mecca panel to be asked, I was like, wow, this is awesome. Because I was like, Dad, we love our products, skincare products, whatever it is, we love our products. So, Dad, I still remember Dad would take me into Mecca. And when I was asked to speak on their panel the other day, I was like, this is awesome. And it was really cool to speak about tips and tricks that I learned as being an influencer, content creator, loving beauty, fashion, sharing those with people that are aspiring creators was really awesome because I told them that as long as you're yourself and you try hard in the way of presenting yourself to how you present to people and try to be yourself and be yourself, that's you're going to be your niche because everyone's unique in their own way. And as long as you just give it 100% and try to stick to your morals as much as possible and not get caught up in all the trends and how people talk. And
if you can do what you want to do without compromise.
And stay true to yourself, I think it's really important. And, I was on a roll. What was I talking about? We were talking about my food and I was talking about how I love sharing my love for food, and it's nice that I got asked to speak about my love about beauty and all that kind of stuff. And I think I'm just very proud of myself with what I'm doing, and I think hopefully one day I'll be able to share my love of food with Gordon. I think that would be awesome as we love him. And that's what we're talking about, our shows, my favourite shows, Vampire Diaries, Grey's Anatomy, Blacklist. Dad and I loved watching Blacklist together. Alex and I are now rewatching Suits because Alex hasn't seen it to the end. Dad thought he was Harvey Specter. And, yeah, I'm just really happy with my food, and I thank you for saying that Dad would be proud because I think he would too. Hopefully one day there'll be a cookbook. I've always wanted to open up a little shop. And, yeah.
Well done, Brooke.
Thanks. I'm glad we got back to there.
It's fine. Now, going to 2022.
Lessons.
We can talk about lessons. Okay. Do you have any lessons?
Sorry, that's what you were leading on to. Keep going.
Do you have any lessons?
Yes, I do actually. And we briefly touched on this before. And I think, me and Dad were like the same person. And that sort of, for a long time, was hard on both of us because we both needed to be right and we both would be arguing about the same thing in different ways. And at the time now, I can laugh about it now. And I think for such a long time, there was stuff that Dad and I didn't talk about with each other that we should have, but we were both too stubborn. And I'm very lucky that before everything that happened with Dad, we were able to figure everything out, which I'm so grateful for. And if we didn't, I don't think I'd be the person that I was today. But with everything that happened with Dad and I, and there was a stage where we didn't speak for a little while because we wanted to give each other space. As hard as that was, I think it was the best thing for our relationship, and it was the hardest thing on me and the hardest thing on Dad, which we spoke about. But I think if we both put our stubbornness aside earlier, we would have fixed our stuff a bit earlier, but I'm glad that we did. And at the bottom line, we just both wanted to be happy and wanted to be loved by each other and wanted to be each other, be put first. And I think if you do, my piece of advice is to everyone out there, if anyone's listening, fix it.
If anyone's listening, you'll have lots of people that love you, Brooke.
Thank you, Jackson.
No, great advice. So your advice is
Fix it.
to fix it.
And I think
And
it's
to
not
fix
worth it.
And to fix it, how?
Well, you got to talk about it.
No. But do you mean by addressing it, or do you mean by?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me was I didn't know why I was angry. I didn't know why I was upset, and neither did Dad.
Angry at Dad?
Well, we were angry with each other. We were just upset with each other. And I think we both didn't know why. We were both like, what's this underlying thing? Why do we keep, having our little arguments that don't get resolved? And I think we both didn't give each other enough credit for things that we'd put each other through. We both didn't understand, not credit. We both didn't understand because we didn't want to. We didn't want to put the time aside. And I think that's my piece of advice is if you love someone and you want that person to be in your life, talk about it. And talk about it till you cry. Talk about it till you're both heard. If you need to have time apart, have the time apart, but don't wait for as long as I did. And don't wait for, well, not just me. I think.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? I think if there's
Yeah.
if you have a problem, I know you need time to heal, which is what I needed too, and Dad needed too, to be able to understand with each other. Right, okay, we've taken a step back, and we've said, all right, we've given each other space. Now it's time to talk about it because the emotions are down and the anger's not there and the crazy. I like to yell, and I think that's what Dad and I did really well when we picked up the phone and we spoke about it. And I still remember he was on his way to golf. And he got to golf. He said, "Sorry, Brooks, I was on a roll with what I was speaking about." He goes, "So sorry, Brooks. No, I've just got to go. I'm so sorry. Sorry, 1 sec. Hello, it's just Shane Warne here. I'm just here to play golf. I've got my tea time." And he goes, "I'm so sorry, Brooks." I said, "That's okay." And I remember since then we both made a pact that we both put each other first. And if we had any issues with each other, we'd talk about it. And we both realised that family for us is the most important thing. And, you know, I'm so lucky. I think we had that conversation just before Father's Day in September, and from September till March it was the happiest time of my life with Dad. And and obviously I wish it was longer, I wish it was the rest of my life. And that's my piece of advice to all of you. If you have an issue with one of your parents or a loved one or a friend, talk about it. If you've had your space and you're not talking at the moment, talk about it, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, but also every relationship or dynamic is different with everybody.
Of
Some
course.
people might be abusive, or some people might have had really bad childhoods growing up. Could we all be different?
Yeah, of course,
But
I understand that.
But if you've got the relationship with your partners or family or loved ones, like you say, and it is just sometimes verbal arguments and conflict, or there's underlying issues, don't bury those emotions or feelings.
Don't bury them.
Because the longer you bury them, the more they're just gonna, fester and grow into
affect you in the
worse and
long run
worse.
as well.
And then they just will affect you in the long run. My only advice would be just to deal with it and actually to talk about it through, like what you did. You spoke about it with Dad, and even if that was a few weeks or a few months of not talking, to give you both distance and time
To heal.
Yeah. Because if you hadn't got that closure before Dad had passed,
I would have carried guilt for the rest of my life.
and you'd be feeling
Horrible.
Like, you'd be feeling horrible.
I'd feel like not a fraud, but I wouldn't feel right.
Yeah, well, just
But and then that's all comes back to what I say. Everything happens for a reason.
yeah, everything
happens when it's supposed to happen. And as messed up as that sounds, me and Dad, we were meant to have that argument. We were meant to have the space, and we were meant to have that conversation to fix it.
Yeah.
When we did, and obviously we both wish it was. Well, I know Dad probably wished it was sooner too, and so do I.
And he's your dad.
And he's my dad.
He's
and
your dad.
I'm his daughter. I'm his eldest son, as you'd like to say. I'm his firstborn, and I think that's why he saw a lot of me in him too. And I'm so proud of that every day. There was when I was younger, I'd be like, "Oh no, I don't want to look like Dad." And now I'm like, "Thanks." If someone says, I'm like, "I'm so happy and I'm so proud, and I'm so proud that he's my dad, and I'm so lucky to be his daughter."
That's something I dealt with as well. Not that this is about me. This
No,
is
it's about you too.
But this is something that I dealt with like for a long time too. It's sort of when people are saying, "Oh, that's Shane Warne's son, that's Shane Warne's son," you go, "Oh, I'm just Jackson. Oh,
Yeah.
Jackson's fine." But the older you get, the more you realise, do you know how cool it is
I know.
to say,
I never gave Dad enough credit
"Thanks,
for how
Brooke,
cool
for
he
just
was.
spilling the whole glass," but that's okay.
Where?
Thanks.
Oh, I couldn't
But do you know?
I couldn't see. I haven't got my glasses on. I'm
But-
so sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, you're on a roll.
But no. Do you know how cool it is to say that Shane Warne's our dad? And do you know how many
It's
Shane Warne-
unbelievable. And who else gets to say that? Summer.
Do you know how many stories there's been the last 3.5 years that we've met from people?
I know.
And do you know what's been amazing when I'm talking to these people is how vivid and how happy Dad made them feel. I've spoken to people when I've picked up
The glow,
budget.
you call
Yeah,
it.
the glow, that Howie called it. I've spoken to people when I picked up the budget truck and he said, "Oh, saw your name, Jack Warne, is he your dad?" I go, "Yep." He said, "Oh, I've got a story. I met your dad." I go, "Okay." And he said, when I used to work at the airport, your dad was having a smoke before going to the lounge. He needed a lighter. I gave him my lighter and we had a smoking talk to me for 15 minutes. And he just said Dad was so engaged and interested in that conversation that he felt really important. And fast forward 20 years later, he was able to share me that story.
Yeah.
Dad could have easily said, "Oh, sorry, mate," or walked off, or
He had
borrowed the
time for
lighter.
everyone. Dad had time for
borrowed
everyone.
the lighter and walked away. But Dad was just the type of person that just wanted to make everybody smile, and he was always himself.
Always.
He just wanted to make people happy. He wanted to help people. He just had so much energy and life to give back to everybody. And that's what
And I
he
think
did.
you have that too, and so do I. I think we're unforgivably ourselves all the time. Do you know what I mean? We do what we think we stand by. And, you know, sometimes with Dad I'd be too loud or something. And I'd be like, Dad, I'm just being myself. You tell me to be myself, I'm being myself. And I'd
Yeah,
be too
well, there'd
loud.
be- yeah.
Then it's like, okay, Brooke, we're at a nice dinner. You don't need to be that loud. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So he
Well,
makes sense.
There'd be times at the St Kilda versus Collingwood games where we'd be in a box and you'd be yelling like literally way
But
too
then
loud.
Dad would also have his head out the window going, ball kick.
Yeah,
And I'd be
but-
like, why can't I go? Because you're a girl.
Yeah.
You've got to sit down. I'm like, no, it's just because I go for Collingwood. If I was going for the Saints, you wouldn't do this.
Exactly. You're both just passionate.
Passionate and very loving and caring. And that's what I think we both were the same. And
You
I
were.
carry that very, very specially.
Do you think you'd ever come to the Saints?
No.
No.
Well,
You'd
I
be
pretended
Collingwood?
for such a long time that I was St
You-
Kilda
you-
for Dad.
No, you were always Collingwood.
I was always Collingwood. And thank you. Chloe thinks, she goes, no.
You were
were
never
Sa-
St Kilda.
I know.
I've never seen you wear a St Kilda jersey.
Well, actually, I did for Dad once in a box, and I took Chloe and Ash because before Braden played for Collingwood. Ashley was St Kilda because her family's St Kilda, and Chloe, her dad Scotty, he's mad St Kilda. So that we'd always go to the Saints games, and I pretend that I was Saints for Dad. And I remember this one time we were in a box, and I've got the Saints jersey on, and I remember Chloe always picks a picture. She goes, "Told you wear for Saints." I'm like, "I did it. I've always been Collingwood." And there's a picture. I'll send it to you so you can put it in. You and me, and I think you're in a Geelong outfit, and I'm in
Geelong.
Geelong.
Maybe Essendon or Fremantle.
Oh, Essendon. Sorry, Summer was Geelong. Summer was Geelong
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sydney. You were in something other than Saints, and I had the Collingwood pajamas, Collingwood beanie, Collingwood singing cup, Collingwood socks. This picture of us, we look really cute. And I just love the Pies. And it's so cool that, you know, one of my best friends plays for them, and we've become so close with so many of the players, and now they're my friends, which is just awesome, which is such a lucky opportunity, and I'd love the Pies. Up the Maggies.
Up the Maggies. Up the Maggies.
Up the Mags.
I had lunch. I went to an event and it was a lunch 2 weeks ago. Guess who I sat opposite?
Who?
Peter Hillier,
Oh, did you?
Strawny. And I said, I'm not sure if you know my older sister Brooke, but I've tried to get her to be the next Strawny. And I actually called him Strawny when I met him, and he laughed. But I said, no, well, I've just, for my earliest memories with you, it's just Strawny. I'm trying to get Brooke to be the next Strawny for the
Could you
Collingwood games.
imagine?
Because I said, if Collingwood approached Brooke and said, we want to paint your face black and white,
I'd
black
do
and
it.
white dreadlocks,
Paint it.
Brooke would do it.
Paint it.
Well, there you go.
Here's
Brooke-
the paint.
There's, yeah, so you'd be the next Strawny. You can
Thank
be
you.
Brawny or something. But,
Brookster.
yeah, Brookster. But, okay, going now to a serious one.
Yes.
Do you remember, obviously we were together in 2022, but describe, if you can, sort of what you were feeling in like that. I like to describe that month of March like it was the same day. Like to me it feels like a blur. I don't really remember everything, but there's some things I remember so clearly. Who messaged me, what they messaged me, word by word. I remember all that sort of stuff. But it feels like the same day.
Yeah, I've never spoken about this.
You don't have to. We can.
No,
we
no,
don't-
I'm happy to talk about it. I remember it was Friday, I'd finished work. I remember it, like, close my eyes, I can picture it all now. And I finished work and we were so excited. You, me, Kyra and Alex were going down to Summers. And I got face masks for us and eye masks for us, all from Mecca, and I was so excited. And I remember Alex and I came down and we were having such a nice night. We were watching that Leighton Meester movie and you got the phone call from Neo. And I remember you were sitting on the steps. We were sitting upstairs and you had, you were on the phone, you started to walk down the stairs and I remember you were looking at the wall and I instantly thought something had happened to Nan and Pa. I had this sense of, shit, what's happened? Not for 1 minute did I think something had happened to Dad. And I remember you hung up the phone and you said, Dad's had a heart attack. And I remember Mum stood up and I remember I was next to Alex. And
Massive. I said massive heart attack.
massive heart attack. Dad's had a massive heart attack. And then we stood up and I remember I couldn't breathe and I think when you hear that, it's I felt like I had like this out of body experience. I didn't think what was happening was happening. And I remember I stood up and I couldn't breathe, and I remember I looked at Alex, and he was like blowing air into my face, and I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to just get myself together, and then I sort of was like, no, this isn't happening. I felt a sense of disbelief, and we didn't know for a long time, and Summer wasn't with us, and I remember it was pouring. It was like something off a movie.
Yeah, there was about over an hour from the phone
Longer.
call from Neo, then the phone call
11
with James.
till 1. I remember it was 2.5 hours.
Mm.
And Mum had driven back to get Summer. Summer was out, and she was at a dinner at Undercott, I think, and then she went back to the house, and Mum had driven down to get her and brought her back, and then we kept calling, we kept asking what's news, and they'd say no updates, but they'd obviously known, but they wanted us to be together. And I remember I was sitting there, I'm going, it's going to be fine, we're going to go to Thailand, we're going to get on a plane, we're going to go see Dad in hospital, he's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine, it's all going to be okay.
Yeah, there was, in that 2 hours, there was not any part of me that thought we were never going to see Dad ever again. Like when even Neo had said he's had a massive heart attack, I had thought.
You remember you put the phone, you said Dad's had a massive heart attack.
Yeah, I was just like, really?
He's fine.
Heart attack? Just sure, I don't believe that. And we saw him go through.
We were with him 2 days ago.
Yeah, and we saw him go through so much shit his entire life.
Yeah,
a heart attack is not what's going to. You could tell me he would jumped out of a plane skydiving and his parachute broke. He'd landed. He'd still be okay.
He'd landed standing.
Yeah, he'd land and still be okay.
Ready
That's
to
how
light a dart.
strong. Yeah, that's how strong I
Invincible.
felt. Yeah, I looked at him as Superman.
I remember sitting on the table, and then Mum got the phone call from Pa, and we kept asking, what's happened, and then Pa, he said, Simone, are you with the kids? And she said, yep. He said, I'm just with Helen and Bridget. And he said, unfortunately, the doctors have done everything they could, and that's when we started screaming. But unfortunately, Shane has passed. And then Mum put the phone down. Summer collapsed. I couldn't breathe. Alex went outside. And I remember I looked at you 2 minutes before that, and you had a feeling in your tummy. And you said to me, it's not something's wrong. I know something's wrong. I said, no, I didn't want to believe it. But you didn't accept it then, but you knew something was wrong. You knew in your tummy that something was wrong. But it was only before, just a couple of minutes before. I may have got that wrong, but I remember it so clearly. And that night I remember it was raining, and I sat on that balcony and I screamed and I cried, and we all did. And I remember you, me, and then Nanny and Pa ended up driving up. And you and I sat there on the couch, and I remember I didn't sleep. I went down to bed. Just a sense of sense of just nothing, sense of numbness, sense of how, still now I can't even put into words how I felt. It was just complete distraught. How?
Sorry. Go on. Maybe that was Dad trying to say, come on, laugh, guys. It's not that,
That's quite funny.
Not to laugh at what's happened, but like
we're not
to try and be positive and sorry.
No, that's fine. Of course that happens at that time. I just remember I didn't sleep. And then my phone, I remember looking at this candle. I had a candle on next to my bed, and it was like it was dancing. And I remember looking at it being like, because, we're quite spiritual in our little ways. Well, I am. And I remember this candle was like up to here, and I remember looking at it going, God, is that Dad in the candle? Like I was in all sorts. And I remember I couldn't sleep. And Alex was, bless him, he'd had the biggest day at work, and he was trying to talk to me, and he was just closing his eyes. And then it was about 6 o'clock, and I remember it was the longest night, but the quickest night, from that 1 a.m. till 6. And then my phone just started to go buzz, 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 buzz. Sound like it was ringing. It was texts, phone calls, people going, this isn't real, call me, what's happened? I remember the first call I got was Yasmin. Yasmin called me at 1:30, and we'd found out maybe 25 minutes beforehand.
No, we found out on the dot.
At what?
Like at the news. Like I remember we got the news and my phone was getting messages saying, please tell me it's not real.
Yeah, it was
like we found out within minutes.
Remember we checked, but I mean it was like 25 minutes after we found it, but Yasmin started calling.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I remember hanging up the phone from when we got told, and then I was getting messages from people saying, please don't tell me this is real.
Yeah, I remember it was that, it was on Instagram and Fox Sports, I think it put up Shane Warne 1969, that black and white picture till 2022. And I was like, how have they already put it on? But they were waiting to tell us before someone had to make a statement. James obviously has to make the statement. And yeah, and then I remember Yasmin called me, I didn't answer, and Liv, one of my friends, Liv, whose wedding I was at last week, she called me. I remember they were the first 2 calls. And Yasmin, I remember she was on her way to work and I didn't answer the call. But then I remember in the morning we were just sitting there and I was just like, how do we sort of move forward? I was in a very big state of shock. I remember I had my big panic attack cry, hyperventilate cry, and then I was in a state of shock of no tears, no nothing, numbness. It sort of didn't really feel real because I was like, how could this happen, you know? And I think from then I remember that day it was just, we had to blind up all our shutters and put sheets on the walls. So all the photographers were down there. They were out 6 o'clock in the morning camping out the front of our house. The neighbours had to block the street off with their cars because cars kept coming up. And I remember I was trying to sleep that afternoon and I heard someone say,
Yeah, fuck off.
Fuck off,
Yeah.
you piece of scum, and
Yeah.
running down the street.
Someone
and
told
I
one
remember,
of the
and I thought someone was in our
reporters.
house, and I'm like,
That was one of our neighbours.
yeah. And he was trying to chase him down. And I remember Curtis, our cousin, he came and he had a camera attached to the wall. And the neighbours had parked their car, bless them, at the end of the street, got rid of the snappers and all of that. So make a blockage, and they waited down the front, saw if they were our family or not. They'd let them through and they'd move the car, which is just so lovely. And we don't live at that house anymore. Summer couldn't go back there too. Such lots happened in that house. But yeah, it was just the hardest time in our life, I think. And I think it got harder as time went on as well. And I think I've spoken about this once before on Liv's podcast, but I said grief never goes away. You'd learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to deal with those people not being here. But you deal with grief for the rest of your life, I think. And I think you lose a part of you that you're never going to get back, but you learn how to live without it at some point or another. And I think people say, oh, you have your grieving time and then you move on. It's not that. That's not how it works. And don't ever think that you're supposed to have a time, or it's, from when they pass until this time, that's when you're supposed to feel sad, or no one can tell you how you're supposed to feel. You feel however you feel every day, and I call it waves. We call it waves. Some days it's really bad. Some days it's fine. And some days you don't know what's going to happen and how it's going to crash.
It's a great explanation because I if you could give me a pill and I could take it and I'd cry, I'd love to take it.
Yeah.
I'd love to take that pill. But it was for me where I sort of got teary-eyed was when I went to James Hasham's wedding, unbelievable wedding.
The father-daughter dance.
And yes, that as well. But when I was hearing Joe, James's dad, talk about James and Antonia, I was like, that just makes me really sad because at your wedding or at my wedding or at Summer's wedding, Dad's not going to be there to talk about us. And that was one of the, because you think about all those things, sure. Oh, he's not going to be at my wedding. He's not going to be here, or he's not going to see my kids. No, grandpa, walk down the aisle. You think about all those.
Stuff.
But when you actually see it and you're like, okay, this is actually really
Real.
sad. Like, this is really sad that Dad's not going to be here for those special moments in our lives. But no, I think you're handling yourself amazing, Brooke.
Thank you. I
So
think you
well
are
done.
too. And I think
Thank you, Brooke.
a lot of people think about the big stuff, the weddings, the kids, all of that. But for me, and I know for you as well, and for some, it's the little stuff. It's the driving in the car, singing the song full blast, staying at Crown, eating a pizza, whatever it is. Going down to Portsea, having barbecue, sitting at the back, having a dart and a drink, sitting there, going to the pub, Dad picking us up, we're going together, whatever it is, Dad coming back, telling us a story, just all the little stuff, all in our favourite places. And it's just it's the phone call, it's the text, it's the golf update that we didn't really care about, but it's like, oh, I miss those updates. I miss the morning Brookesdale, what's on for today? Or can I pop round and just bring round an ice cream? It's really hot. Yeah, Dad, come and have a look at the little blow-up pool me and Alex have just decided to put. It's all the little things, and I'm so lucky that Alex got to meet Dad, and Alex and Dad got along so well, and
And now a lot of Dad's clothes fit Alex
I
and not me
know.
because my arms are too big, but
I
they fit
know.
Alex perfectly.
And I remember Dad would say, we had a wedding to go to, and Dad's like, give Alex one of my suits. And I remember Alex put it on and goes, see, it fits Alex. I must look like Alex. Blah, blah, blah. I must be as fit as Alex. And it's just crazy. Like, our Dad for Alex's 22nd birthday was saying to the other day, or 23rd birthday, he gave him golf clubs because Dad loved that Alex wanted to play golf and he wanted to help him, and he set his own golf clubs up for him. And I remember he dropped them off and he was going to come in, and Ian and Jackie were there, and which is Alex's parents. And Dad's like, I'm in my trackies. You should have told me they were here. I would have got dressed. We'll organise another time. And, they never got to meet. And I would have loved Dad to have met Ian and Jackie. And
I say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
with
because
Kaya,
imagine how
which
much
is
fun they'd all have together.
Kaya's parents got to meet Dad. They would have, yeah.
And it's like, that sucks. It's fucking annoying. It's like, well, they're such a big part of our lives. It's just so much, just annoying. And anyway, Dad, I remember he gave them to Alex, and they're on the nature strip, and the footy'd been on, so Alex had a few beers, but he was just so happy that Dad had given him these golf clubs. And I remember Dad said, just pretend they're from you. And I was like, no, Dad, no. And then and I remember Dad gave Alex some stuff for golf, and then after everything happened with Dad, I was like, Alex was obviously still playing golf. And I was like, buddy, come on, let's go find something of Dad's you can wear. And it fit him perfectly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's good because it's like Dad's had all these amazing things and all these beautiful clothes, and it's nice that you can wear them. And sometimes I wish I was a boy to wear some of Dad's cool outfits. I'm like, it's so nice. But it's nice that Alex can wear them, and it's nice that you can. And it's great that Alex and Dad got so close towards the end as well. I think they were both a bit nervous. They were both like, oh, what do we do here?
Well, you'd been in love with Alex. I don't want to expose you too much here, but you've been in love with Alex since 2014, and you didn't start officially dating till when? 2019. So you were in love with him for 5 years. So,
he loved me too. You know that.
Yeah, okay, and
That's
he
why
loved
he
you.
never had a girlfriend.
Sure, and
He did.
So yeah.
He did.
And so
Ask
Dad
him.
had been hearing for 5 years about this Alex guy.
Yep.
So that's why I think they were both a bit like,
Yeah, but then remember on my 21st, Alex he'd stayed at Mum's house, and the next morning she come in, she goes, guys, we've got to go clean up the house. And I remember we went and cleaned up, and Dad looks at me and goes, who's that nice boy? Was he the one in the Peaky Blinders outfit last night? I said, yeah. He goes, I'm like, that's Alex. He goes, no, it's not. I go, yes, it is. He goes, no, that's not the 18-year-old that I remember. He's such a lovely boy. He's such a grown man. Like, and I said, it is. He goes, well, hasn't he grown into himself? Hasn't he become a lovely young man? And I was like, oh, it's a tick of approval. We're not dating yet, but that's good. And we were like,
no, he
21st.
He definitely approved of Alex,
did,
and
I think
he loved Alex.
And it's so nice, and they were quite similar in little ways as well. And when Summer and I were living at our house in Sandy, and Alex was moving in, Summer said, Dad, I'm not living with Brooke unless Alex lives there too. And that's half the reason me and Summer got so close is because of Alex. And Alex put so much aside for us when everything had happened with Dad. He quit his job and he looked after us and did so much for all of us, and I'm forever grateful for him to do that. And now he started his own business, Electrical. Dad tried to help him for so long to get all these jobs, and something just kept happening. And he's just the best, and I'm so grateful to have Alex.
We're both very lucky. You with Alex, me with Kaya.
You with Kaya, yeah. She's the best.
Last sad thing, and then we can talk more about the positives.
Yes.
What was it like, the state memorial? Like going into it, the planning of it, when we got asked, how do you feel about honouring your dad with a state memorial at the MCG? We want to also present you guys and unveil the Shane Warne stand. We're going to have all these people talking on stage in panels. What are your thoughts? Because we were involved in a lot of the brainstorming of it.
Yeah, of course we were. I still got pictures of me and Summer jumping up and down on the G while they're trying to set it up, and they're asking us questions, and we're like...
But like, how special was that?
It was incredible, and, I think you'll agree with me that that's what Dad deserved. He deserved to have a send-off like that at his office, at the MCG.
Backyard, playground.
And, his backyard. And I think the Shane Warne stand is just incredible, but I really wish it was here when he was alive because he deserves it.
Well, that was one thing we always sort of discussed, especially during the month of March, is all of the honours that came out sort of after he passed. And sure, it's not appropriate to do it while he's alive, but
it should be though. I think we've got to change that. And I think if anyone's
know.
listening and there's someone that's done something amazing and someone deserves something, do it while they're alive.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because they deserve to see it, and they deserve that amazing. They deserve to see it.
Well, two things on that. One, about the app that Dad was trying to start.
Yes.
About everybody says all the nice things about someone after they've passed, but the person that's passed never gets to hear it.
But it's like, how does he come up with that before then?
Know.
It's like
there needs to be an app where all of the people can hear the nice stories.
Yeah.
So that was something freaky. But then the second thing was, in a way, I jokingly say this, but Dad's been quite selfish because he's got the Shane Warne stand. He's got the Shane Warne statue. He's got the Shane Warne stand at the Junction Oval. He's got the Shane Warne stand at...
Hey, Sandy.
No, no. He's got the Shane Warne Gallery, at Radisson Royals. He's
right.
got the Shane Warne Oval at Duncan Street. He's got or East Sandy, the Shane Warne Oval at Mentone Grammar.
Yep.
Shane Warne stand at Hampshire.
The Lord's cricket box.
He's got the Shane Warne commentary box for Sky at Lords.
Sky, what did I say?
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
I think that just shows wherever we go, we will feel him, and also
and
to
how
all the
lucky
people
are
that,
we?
and also to the people that worked with him, played with him, saw him, witnessed him. They still get to remember him.
Yeah.
And I
And
jokingly
we do
say
too,
exactly
in a way that's going to all these places around the world. Obviously, we remember him as our dad. And I think it's really cool to be able to go to all these places where Dad worked and Dad played, and it's like, wow, they love him this much that they've given him an oval or they've given him a box. It's like he deserves that. He deserves that. He did so much for this country, so much for everyone. He gave everyone his time all the time. And I just think he deserves that, and I wish he saw it. And obviously he saw it in spirit, but I would have loved to have seen his face smiling at it going, how good's this?
Yeah.
Brookster, have a look at that. That's my name. That's my stand.
Yep.
He would have been so happy. And it's just like, it sucks that he's not here to see it, and it sucks that he's not here for us and for him. And he had so many things that he was excited to do, and, you know, there's so many plans that we'd all had together. We were getting ready for the Coldplay concerts and Ed's concert, and we're lucky enough that we still went because Chris and Ed are just the best and they look after us. And, you know, I remember you and Alex and Dad were going to go in Vegas. You guys were going to go and have dinner, and I remember you said, Brooke, Alex can have some boy time, you know, without you. And I was so excited to all go on this holiday together and for Dad and Alex to play golf, and so many things that didn't happen, and it just sucks. It's the only word for it. But I think we're very lucky that we have each other, and we have our amazing mum and family and partners, and, you know, our amazing friends that always look out for us and will do anything for us.
Completely agree. Completely agree, Brooke. Very well spoken.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up,
Yes.
last thing. How are you feeling that Dad's memorabilia has ended up at the MCG? Because for me, it's literally a fairy tale.
I think Dad would be wrapped, and I know that's where he would want it to go. And I think it is an incredible honour because for the next thousands of years, Dad's going to be remembered from people that may not have ever heard of him. And how cool is that for our dad to be spoken about for years and years to come? We can bring our kids, we can bring our grandkids, they can bring their friends and go, look at my grandpa, look what he did. You know, who else gets to say that? We're so lucky, and it's just incredible. We've been given this opportunity for Dad, and I think it's just amazing, and I cannot wait to see it.
It's going to be so special
my God.
because he's got, obviously, I just said it before, but Shane Warne stand, Shane Warne statue, hologram underneath.
Yeah, see, the hologram I'd love to use for like our wedding.
Yeah.
How cool.
You can maybe ask Jed.
Yeah.
You can talk to Jed. But then all of his iconic memories there too. Hat trick, 700th, calming down the crowd.
Oh.
And he grew up in Melbourne. This is where he lived.
But then even after cricket, Boxing Day Test, he'd go and commentate there. You know,
Yeah.
it's
State Memorial.
State Memorial, all of these amazing achievements, most of his amazing achievements at the G. And now there's going to be a whole Shane Warne exhibition. I just think it's amazing.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for coming on the Warne's Way podcast. Sorry if this took up too much of your time, and thank you for opening up. And I'm sorry if talking about a few things was a bit sad because we haven't spoken publicly, or you haven't spoken publicly
I love to talk about
it.
anything with you, Jacko.
Thank you, Brooke. Is there anything you'd love to tell all of your fans listening and watching if you want to plug your Cook with Brooke or what's coming up? Do you want to tell them?
Well, Jackson, thank you so much for having me today on your Warne's Way podcast. And Kaya, you guys
Thanks for the plug again.
Warne's Way, best podcast.
Number 10, thank you, Tommy Flannis.
Oh, thank you very much. And also, let's not forget you were number 1.
For maybe a day.
But you know what? It's
No,
awesome.
It was maybe like 2 weeks.
It was
but
2 weeks.
It
And
wasn't
you know
long.
what? It should be amazing because you beat the Chiefs podcast. Taylor Swift's. Remember you guys? You were in front of him.
Yeah, but I wasn't there for long.
No, I know, but it's
and I
still
still have
amazing,
a long
and you should
way.
be so proud of yourself.
Thank you, but I still have a long way to go.
You do.
I need to pivot though, just from sport, because that's not actually my category.
No,
But
that's okay.
sport is also the most competitive podcast genre in the world.
And how cool you're doing it.
Yes, but I'm not sure what this is yet.
Yeah,
I
and
sort
that's
of got
all
it
right.
under careers, because everyone I talk to, it's usually about their story or sharing stories about Dad. But guess what?
What?
The charts isn't important.
No, it's not important.
The only thing that's
We're here
important.
to talk about.
The only thing that's important is the people that are listening and watching are enjoying this, and we're not boring them.
Correct.
So if
And the
that's you
people that
guys,
also
thank you.
come on to it as well. It's been awesome. You've
Let's
had
see.
some unbelievable guests and some
Well,
very exciting ones to come.
Yes. Well, this podcast wouldn't be anything without the guests. So
And
thank
of
you to
course-
everyone that's come on, and especially you, Brooke.
Oh, thank you very much. And it wouldn't be anything without you and your hard work and Kaya as well. So
Exactly.
make sure you give yourself credit too where it's
Okay.
given. But where it's given. Anyway, I'm so grateful to have been here today, and I know we both sort of didn't feel our best when we come. We wanted to postpone it, but I'm so glad we've had this chat. And I think hopefully if we've just helped even one person with a little bit of advice, that's all that we can ask for. And, you know, I'm very grateful to have you as a brother and Summer as a sister and us to talk about this. And I'm so proud of you. And I know Dad would be so proud of all of us and everything that we're doing. So thank you for having me today. And if you guys want some chaotic cooking, please make sure to go on TikTok, Cook with Brooke. Well, it's actually Brooke Warne _ and Insta is Brooke Warne to see some chaos. But yeah, no, I'm just happy to be here for you, Jacko, and proud to see what's gonna happen. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Brooke.
I got sweaty hands.
Thank you. Oi. Wow, we.
Bye.